Okay, so we're back. We waited about 10 minutes for Drokon to reappear. I haven't played a lot with him, but the other players did vouch and say that he was a very reliable fellow, so he must have ran into some computer or internet problems. Anyways, since he's more or less irrelevant and we don't want to wait around forever, we decided to load up without him here. And so we're back. We are working our way up towards education. The Huns just lost their capital, presumably to Japan there, since they just jumped up on score. We've been stalking this barbarian spearman. And we're sending our settler out to found our fourth city. In terms of the tiles, everything that I want to work is locked down, so that's good. And we'll want to go and queue up some more units by the looks of things. I think we might have time to squeeze in a workshop. China will provide a decent buffer for us. Here's Siam. And then after we get the workshop up, we can go and continue pumping out composites. Alright, so we got a little experience from our creep host. This guy, I think, will want a barrage, since there are some rough terrain features around St. Petersburg. And here, let's go work on that mine. And let's go and try to rescue this worker. Can settlers capture workers? They cannot. Alright, so I'll want to settle a city 1, 2, 3, maybe on the hill where Japan is, or on the river. The river would be nice. It wouldn't get me a hill, but I'd be able to build a watermill and a garden and have the extra gold. Yeah, but so the next choice is whether I want to make it coastal. Let's go and work on Machu Picchu. That's 6 turns for us here. And that also looks fine. Can we get a citizen in 1 turn if we switch over? No. How many units does it take to recapture a barbarian worker? Let's go and take a look at the demographics again. So we're above average in terms of techs, and we are just 4 techs behind the leader. Once we hit horseback riding, that'll probably go and reduce itself to 3. We should probably get rid of that scout. I mean, if we ever go to war with Japan, he'll have access to our soft underbelly. On the other hand, though, that scout is costing Japan a bunch of maintenance per turn. So if he really wants to keep that around on the off chance that he'll need it to pillage some of our tiles later on, then I guess that's his prerogative. Alright, so here we have a worker. We could keep it for ourselves, but I would rather the influence in this case. We do have a lot of tiles to improve, but we already have a worker down here, so I'm happy with that. Now 1, 2, 3. I think we'll settle right here. Non-coastal, but that's fine. And that still leaves us space, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, to go and settle something on the coast by the sugar later on. Alright, so Novigard just finished a library. Let's work on a workshop here so that we can eventually get ourselves the ironworks. And here we can send the worker up to start improving tiles around our newest city, Rostov, and of course it gets the free aqueduct and free monument off of our Liberty tree. Let's go production focus, but lock down the food, and we will go and get to work on a granary. Okay, so Japan has conquered Omi. I don't know if they're going to be coming for us next. That might mean we have to switch over to machinery. But for now, I would like to hit universities first. Okay, so we just founded a great profit there. I didn't really want to. I would rather have stockpiled the faith. But we would be the second player to found a religion here, so I guess we may as well. Okay, military-wise, we're 4th on soldiers. Japan is no longer number 1. But we should still get a few more units over by St. Petersburg. However, now we can go and found ourselves a religion. Tangrism is my favorite symbol. We could go and grab ourselves tithe, as I think we're going to have a decently sized capital. And Pagodas is still available, so let's go and grab that as well. Alright. So we're only pumping 6 faith per turn. It'll take a lot more than that if we want to purchase any pagodas, which currently only cost 130, but once we hit the Renaissance, that value will increase to 200, I believe, but maybe it's a little less than that. Alright, so after we finish Machu Picchu, unless KDJD is also out to finish it, we might want to go, someone's built Notre Dame, which is nice, the pyramids in 4 or Chichen-Itza in 6. I think we could use a bunch of extra workers here, but the Chichen-Itza is for happiness. Let's go grab ourselves some extra workers, since we do have a bunch of tiles that I'd like to improve. As far as the road network goes, it looks like it'll be cheapest to send that road in front of the mountains, which means that it'll be open to any of our enemies. But building all the way around this mountain is not going to be practical. We do want to keep these cities growing, however, so let's go and lock down some more food tiles. Even though we are hitting up against our happiness limit, hopefully we can go and improve the gems before we stay unhappy for too long. We do need to get our military up, since the leader has more than double our military strength. At least it's not Japan. So I think after we finish this workshop, we will go and get to work on some more units. Rostov has grown. I think that's fine. You don't need to grow too quickly now that we're at 0 happiness here. Although, yeah, that's actually just fine. Two turns for the pyramids, 1 turn for that workshop. Everything looks good. We're only 3 techs behind the leader, and we are 2 techs away from hitting education. Then we're going to grab machinery, and then work our way up towards astronomy for the observatories, as we have 2 cities that are adjacent to mountains, but we also unlock sailing, so we can get these crabs online. Or this crab. For these crabs, we'd need another coastal city. Dropping one on the snow hill here, perhaps. That's not really a nice city spot. So 1 turn for the pyramids, and Florence, as luck should have it, wants gems. We already have a bunch of influence with them because we returned this worker. But free influence is always nice. Let's send our spearmen forward just to keep an eye on things. Japan here is working its way down towards the Chinese capital, and they have Beijing at half strength. After the pyramids, though, I'm not sure if we want a creep post or to work on the Chitinista. I think it's the Chitinista. Alright, so we just finished the pyramids, and we have some people demanding dyes, which is doable. We can go and send that worker over to the dyes, and this worker over to St. Petersburg to improve the stone, but also to repair some of these tiles to the rear. So let's go and get to work on those gems. And since we're going to be growing really soon, fine, you can grow. And this worker that we rescued from Florence is extremely confused. I don't know where it's trying to go. Off in the corner here with the mountains and our borders. So it looks like the Chinese capital will fall next turn. It's going to be captured for the 3rd time this game. Once by the Huns, it was captured back by the Chinese, and then this time to be captured by the Japanese. There, China just lost its capital. We'll go and bring these workers around to start on a road between Moscow and St. Petersburg. We could run the road along the hills here. 1, 2, 3 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It doesn't really matter. We'll just do it on the flatland here to get it done a little faster. So if we look at the demographics here, we're in third place on score, and a lot of that is wonders. But, someone shot up ahead of us by quite a bit in terms of technology. I feel like once we get education online, so long as we keep a good army to keep Japan at bay, we will be able to pump some decent science, especially since our two largest cities are on a mountain range here. Although we haven't grown Moscow as much as we could be, given that we have the Hanging Gardens. I've been on production focus and working all these hills instead of the 2 cattle and the 2 wheats. So we just got ourselves a great engineer. We could save him for... We've already missed out on Notre Dame. I guess we could save him for the Leaning Tower of Pisa, or we could just go and settle him now as a great tile improvement. Since I don't want to have him sitting around for a while, he costs maintenance, and the sooner I settle him, the more value I get out of the extra production tile. So I think I will settle him now, since I don't have a wonder that I want to finish right now. So we just hit our unhappiness, but we're about to get 2 more luxuries online. So apparently something just happened there. Maybe KDJD got artillery online. I really need to learn how KDJD is doing that. A lot of the games I've played with him, he's managed to get artillery quite early. So perhaps army of Siamese artillery is now moving on the Iroquois, which is strange because I'm guessing the Iroquois are probably number 2 in terms of military strength, with Japan in front of them and us just behind. Anyways, that's no excuse to stop producing the composites that we need for defense. We're going to get a whole lot more happiness soon. There we go. So let's make sure we lock down the best food tiles, which we are in fact already working. I guess if we really want to grow, we could go and lock down the crab. That does speed us up by 1 turn, so I'm happy with that. We could go down patronage or hit commerce, and we are pumping 31 gold in our capital, so commerce might make sense, or we could go for some extra culture here. Let's go and open up commerce. And here we'll grab rough terrain and move you guys out. So despite the fact that we have the creep host here, we haven't been expanding our culture borders forward too quickly. Faster is better since we have a bunch of neighbors with strong militaries and we have a great wall. So let's go 4 extra hammers over 100 turns is 400 hammers. A wonder is, well, the Chitnista is 200 hammers. Fine, we'll make the manufactory. and that slows us down again in terms of when our next citizen is born. Losing grasp on Singapore, and we just made Florence even more happy with us. So if we aren't friends with Singapore anymore, we'll lose a whole bunch of happiness. I think 6 or 8 happiness. Since they've changed the value that the mercantile city-states give you, I don't really remember. Okay, so here, that looks fine. We're working on this road. One turn until the Chinista, and then we can go and slap on a quick circus before we finish off education and start on a university. Here's a Japanese swordsman. We'll probably want to go and reposition some of our bowmen to make sure that they're not up to too much trouble. We also are friends with Milan, so if we throw a bit of money their way, they could help us against an aggressive Japan. I don't see how many units they have, but they have at least 2. And we have a spy. The tech leader is unknown to us. And we don't really have any good options for stealing techs from. We could sink the spy into Singapore, but we'll likely just pay Singapore. So let's go. Yeah, we will sink it into Singapore, even though it'll take a whole bunch of turns to rig that election. Let's build that road. This Japanese soldier is concerning me, but I'm glad there wasn't a huge army behind him. Alright, so education next turn. We do want to grow as quickly as possible. Alright, so all of our cities look fine. And Japan has nicely retreated his swordsman. That's a friendly move, if ever I saw one. And Japan is actually #1 on literacy. Good for them. We are now in 3rd place in terms of manufactured goods, and the leader doesn't have more than twice our production, so that much is good. We are #1 on population, which is definitely nice. It means that we'll be able to pump out a lot more science. We've discovered education, so let's go and get a university up. Only 3 turns. That's terrific. And we can go and bring some of these units home. Alright, so after that composite, military-wise, we are 3rd, but Japan is more than twice our military strength, so I don't think we can slack off, although I won't have the money for upgrades, so let's work on a university, and then after that, we'll work on building composites directly, or crossbowmen directly. So once Rostov finishes this granary, they'll be able to grow pretty quickly. I think after that I want a workshop. just because it won't have the population to work the university right away, and I do want to get the ironworks up as quickly as possible. And so that'll be 4 cities with workshops once Rostov's is done, with Novigorod finishing way before Rostov. Alright, so here's another composite for us. Maybe you can have an open terrain, and you can hide out in St. Petersburg. I like having a view from this hill, so we'll just leave the spearmen there. We finished our dyes, and we can go and farm another tile. Alright, so this all looks good. Rostov has grown. Let's keep you growing. Novgorod, or Novgorod, and we're also working the high food tiles here, and Moscow has also locked down its highest food tiles. Okay, let's take another look at demographics. Japan is on top, but they're probably neighbors with the Iroquois, and the Iroquois probably have a strong military. Oh, I see. So, GG for you. That was KDJD being eliminated. I didn't even notice. Maybe the Iroquois got a bunch of free universities out of that. Anyways, we just need to make sure that we don't fall to any wanton Japanese aggression, and I think we're in an excellent position to pull ahead as the tech leader. So there are only 3 players left in the game: me, Japan in the middle, and the Iroquois to the left. So that should make the Japanese think twice about attacking us, because that'll expose their flank to the Iroquois. So what we need to do is really go and start pumping our science. We're about to get a university online in our capital. Machinery is on the way in case we need the crossbowmen, and then we're going to go and get our observatories up. So the quest from Milan is a science quest, and we're about to open up a really easy route here on sailing optics and compasses. So we could go and win that quest with Milan, which will be quite nice. So we finally went and connected St. Petersburg. We finished the university. We could go and grab ourselves a national epic, which will be good since we're going to start pumping great scientist points. Yes, that does look good. If we lock down the sheep tile, do we grow any faster? No, we don't. But we don't build the national epic any faster either, so let's just go for the food. Even though the hammer overflow is enhanced by our wonder and city modifier. So maybe I would like the extra hammers rather than the extra food, which I think is just going to go to waste. I'm going to have to see exactly how the extra food transfers so that I can make the proper decision on that later on. This poor worker from Florence seems very confused. And here everything looks fine. we're in position to take the tech lead since we have two nice cities on a mountain range. Japan is in the center, so they would have to work out a pretty strong alliance with the Iroquois if they wanted to attack us. And I think that's where we'll leave part 4, and I'll see you guys again in part 5.